Steady, boys!
Go Nuggets, I'm telling you,
It's America's Gold Rush. Come to life.
Gold was lying on the banks of streams, nuggets and things like that. All you had to do was turn up and you could be rich beyond belief.
You recognize that guy? From a company in Thompson, Illinois, audio dramas that tell the story of history in new light. Heirloom Audio has released 7 dramas in all, award-winning work in audio only that plays out in the theater of your mind. And the mastermind behind it all joins me right now, Bill Heid, the founder and executive producer of Heirloom Audio, here with all these great projects and an award. I'd like to present to you this award, Bill.
Thank you so much,
On behalf of
Paula.
all of us who care what you do. So you won this last year?
We did, 2016 Performance Arts Award, and we won it for The Dragon and the Raven. And here's one that I got to tell you, this is, I hate to chest pound, but one of my favorite people is Garrison Keillor, one of my favorite storytellers. Grew up listening to Lake Wobegon. We actually beat Garrison Keillor with the
You did?
With the best storytelling award. Yeah, so we're actually humbled would be the right word for
The
that.
Voice Arts Award. I just think, I know this is a whole part of the entertainment industry. Entertainment, isn't it? That is relatively unknown to the masses. Bill, how do you like to describe it? What it is that you and your folks do?
Yeah, I mean, what we'd like to tell you, we're talking about the theater of the mind. What we like to do is tell stories where you have to imagine what's going on rather than having Steven Spielberg or George Lucas or somebody do it for you, right? Do all the heavy lifting. As a matter of fact, I got to tell you this quick because this is exciting as well. Last year, I think it was the Cincinnati Children's Hospital. They did a study, an MRI study, and they did 3 different categories of real-time MRIs, right? So they had kids reading, they had kids watching, and they had kids listening. And the kids that listened scored very much higher. We'd expect that from kids watching, right? That would just be kind of normative.
But over kids reading, that's surprising.
Kids reading, yes. And it affects what they call the semantic processing part of the brain. So by listening to stories and having the mind imagine and creating this theater, as you said when we first started, the theater of the mind, you actually can increase fluency in your kids and verbal IQ.
Well, we have, so Bailey's Heir, Captain Bailey's Heir is your newest. But this is these folks getting together, your voice actors here. How do you find, you have some big names who show up. I don't know if we have it in Bailey's Heir. Well, yeah, we do. We have our Indiana Jones, Lord of the Rings actor, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's John
Rhys Davies. John Rhys Davies has been in a lot of movies.
There
Indiana Jones, Lord of the Rings. I mean, he's very famous.
You guys recognize him? He's the man with his head down a bit there. His voice is extraordinary. He's Welsh, right?
He is.
Yeah,
actually.
there he is. So do you guys do you do your recording overseas?
We do it in London.
And always in London? And why are you over there for it?
Well, it's a great place to grab voices, and there's a lot of voice talent that is in an area that we can get them. It's kind of like round up the usual suspects. You asked me before we started, how do we get all this talent? There's a pool.
That's where they are?
That we like to draw from, and we have great relationships with these men and with these ladies. A lot of the people from the Royal Shakespearean Theater are in our stories as well. So
let's talk about the stories. You know, it's all about the story, as we know.
It is.
So explain to me maybe your newest one and what the story is and how it's different.
The Captain Bailey's Heir is a story of the West, of the Wild West. And this young man comes, he gets into a little trouble, falsely accused of something over in London at Westminster. He goes to Westminster School, and he ends up coming over here. So there's a turbulent boat ride. Then there's some action in New Orleans. They come up the Mississippi, a river we're familiar with. They've got some river pirates there. They finally ended up, they go on the Missouri River, and they go out west once they get to Omaha, and there's all kinds of gunfights, and it's an old-time Western story, but they're headed for the gold rush. And if you remember, 300,000 people came to California starting in 1940, about 48. There was 1,000 people in California in early 48, and there was 100,000 2 years later. There's gold in their hills, exactly.
Yes, and the faith component is worked into all of these. These were people, in some cases, of great faith, or maybe a little faith, that got them to be to get them to where they were and advancing that story.
Yeah, in Captain Bailey's there, this is really, I've told you the sort of the external side of it, right? This is, you're going through all this adversity trying to get from point A to point B. What's the underlying story is a story of grace, and amazing grace. And so we like to tell a lot of stories within stories, and so underneath all this thing is really a story of God's grace. We all come up short in life. When we do, it's good to have that grace, and when others come up short, it's great to be able to extend that grace as well.
How sweet to sound. HeirloomAudio.com, and award-winning. Bill, and your work with your crew is really extraordinary. I know we're going to hear much more from you. You go online there, you can find out more about how to, you know, sell a few of these, right?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. Bill, such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Paula.
Congrats on all your success. You deserve it. Thank you.